In today's video, we're talking workout splits. Welcome to the video, guys. My name is Tyler, also known as the Fit Chemist, and I help people take control of their lives by taking control of their fitness and nutrition habits so that ultimately we can lead healthier and happier lives. So if you're new here, welcome. Please consider subscribing. Turn those notification bells on so you don't miss when I post new videos. And if you are returning, welcome back. I'm so glad that you are here. Brad Schoenfeld and coworkers recently published a paper titled Personalized Evidence-Informed Training Plans and Exercise Prescriptions for Performance, Fitness, and Health. So I figured what we would do today is take a look at that paper real quick and break down his 6-step approach on how to actually write an evidence-based or an evidence-informed training program and how to account for individual variability and responses when it comes to those designed training programs. Make sure you stick around to the end of the video because after we go through this paper, I'm going to be giving some pros and cons for the most popular types of workout splits, and we'll finally be answering the question, what is the best workout split? Stick around and find out. As always, this study will be linked down in the description box. I think it's open access, so you should be able to go ahead and read it for yourself. However, again, I'm just going to summarize this 6-step approach. So if we take a look at figure 3, we can see that the very first step of this process is going to be define the overall goal. Step number 2 is then going to be breaking down the overall goal into some smaller and more achievable goals. Step 3 is going to be planning a testing and monitoring strategy. So the authors do mention that this should be specific to the desired aims, meaning you should be monitoring variables that are going to help you get towards the overall goal. Step number 4 is going to be prescribe the chosen intervention. So if you are a coach, you are going to be choosing what type of intervention you are going to be using with your client in order to help them achieve those goals. Step 5 is then going to be planning the key training variables over the entirety of the intervention. And then step 6 is going to be breaking down those training variables into very specific weekly plans. As you can see from the figure, steps 4, 5, and 6 are where the evidence-based practice is going to come in. So when you are choosing the intervention, when you are planning the training variables over the entire intervention, and then when you're breaking those down into the smaller goals or weekly specific plans. We can also see that because we decided on a testing and monitoring strategy in step 3, that step 6 is actually going to allow us to undergo a continuous revision cycle each and every week to make sure that when we're following those variables, we are actually improving the way that we need to achieve step number 1, which is the overall goal. So this is quite general, and I think it'll make more sense once I put it into context for you. So let's say that I have a client, they come to me and they want to compete in their first powerlifting meet. So that is going to be step 1. The overall goal is to be competing in a powerlifting meet. From there, we can break that down into smaller, more achievable goals. So let's say we want to add 50 pounds to our bench. Let's say we want to add 50 to 75 pounds to our squat and deadlift. And then let's say we need to lose 10 pounds to reach a specific weight class for the powerlifting meet. In step 3, we then need to decide on some variables to track in order to make sure that we're hitting both those smaller goals and then thus the overall goal. So when it comes to lifting, we could track things like our total weekly volume, the number of sets for each of those big 3 lifts, the rate of progression. We could also do something like a subjective measure of how is the client feeling after each of the workouts, how is their recovery. For the nutrition data, we'd also like to see how many calories we're eating, so we could average that across the week and just get a total average for the week. We could do the same thing with weigh-ins, so weigh in every single day, but still get the weekly average weigh-in. From there, we could measure the change in weight. We could look at the change in body fat percentage, hopefully adding some lean body mass. So there's a bunch of variables that you can actually track. And in step 3, you need to decide on what variables are going to be most important to track in order to help the client or yourself reach those goals. Step 4 is then choosing the intervention. So let's say this client comes to me. What I can decide is, okay, based on the information that you're telling me, a 5-day workout plan is going to be best for you. And we're also going to strictly track our calories in an app like MyFitnessPal, so we know that our nutrition is in check and that ultimately we can hit that weight class goal. Step 5 is then designing the entire plan over the duration of the intervention. So if the intervention is going to be that 5-week training plan, and let's say the powerlifting meet is in 20 weeks, we would need to decide on periodization. So what kind of periodization are they going to follow? Are we going to do a taper the week before? Maybe we'll have like a max testing week halfway through the training program. So you do need to decide all of those variables in this second to last step here. We could also decide at this stage what an appropriate rate of weight loss would be. So let's say we want to lose half a pound a week for 18 weeks. So then that way we can hit our target weight maybe a week or two out from the actual meet. And then in step 6, we need to break down exactly what that is going to look like on a week-to-week basis and come up with a very detailed weekly plan. This is key because this is going to allow us to undergo that continuous revision process. So if the client is sharing the nutrition information with me and they're not losing weight at an appropriate rate that we set in the previous step, then we know that we need to make some changes, or maybe they're not recovering properly and we need to make some changes to the lifting plan. But again, this final step is going to be what's most important, right? Because you see what's going on a week-to-week basis and you want to make sure that all that is trending in the right direction. So again, we can reach that overall goal. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, Tyler, what does this 6-step process have anything to do with the best workout split? Well, I'm glad you asked. I'm hoping that after you see what a detailed process this is and after breaking it down for you, you realize how important it is to follow a plan that is individualized to your needs and your goals, and it's going to be something that you can 100% be consistent with. Let's be honest, Joe Schmo could be crushing it and getting some amazing gains by following a 5-day per week full body plan, but you could try that plan and maybe you don't get those same results. Maybe your body doesn't necessarily recover as well as Joe Schmo's, or maybe your body can get those same results by doing a 3-day per week push-pull leg split. You don't know. Everybody is different, and again, I want to emphasize the need that all these training programs are going to be highly individualized for you. So ultimately, the best workout split is going to be the one that is tailored to your needs and one that you can ultimately be consistent with. I know this might not be the answer that you're looking for, however, it is the truth, but I figured what I would do is share some pros and cons of the most popular workout splits, and that hopefully that would give you some more information on how to decide for a workout program and split that is going to fit both your lifestyle and your fitness goals. So what are some of the more popular workout splits? We can start with the bro split, which is hitting chest on Monday, back on Tuesday, legs Wednesday, Thursday is shoulders, and then Friday is arms. Some pros of this one is that you're going to be hitting a ton of volume for that particular muscle group in one day, which oftentimes is probably going to lead to a pretty killer pump. If you're hitting like 5 or 6 exercises of chest on Monday, you're going to get a pretty good chest pump by doing that. And this split is sort of old school bodybuilding and will sort of give you that old school type feeling. However, if we take a look at some of the cons, we know that this bro split is definitely not science-based, so you would be hitting each muscle group 1 time per week, and we know that the current literature suggests that we should be hitting each muscle group at least twice per week. Another con is that you could potentially be pretty sore the following day because you're doing so much volume in one particular muscle group. However, if you're only hitting it once per week, then you ultimately have 6 days to recover again until you hit that muscle group again. The next split that I want to talk about is push-pull legs. So push is going to be chest, shoulders, and triceps, whereas pull is going to be back, biceps, and rear delts, and then legs is exactly what it sounds like. That's going to be legs. This can be done either 3 times per week, or you can do it 6 times per week, so you can go through that cycle twice. Or something else that you could also do is just run a push, pull legs, rest day, and then every 4 days you are repeating that cycle over and over. So some pros for this split is that I think you're gonna have more balanced workouts instead of the bro split, right? So if on a push day, you're hitting a couple exercises of chest, but you're not doing an entire day devoted to chest, you're still gonna chase that pump a little bit and you're still gonna get a good workout in for that particular muscle group. However, you're also gonna be hitting some of the other muscle groups that day as well. I think the push-pull leg split is set up really nicely for recovery. So whether you're doing, 6 days a week, or you're doing the push-pull legs rest and then repeating after every 4th day, that's going to give you pretty optimal recovery by the time you hit that muscle group again. And we also know that we want to be hitting everything at least twice per week, and this split is going to allow you to do that. Personally, I don't think there are that many cons to this type of workout split. However, one big one that I do want to point out is that if you are doing a 6-day per week split, so you're doing push-pull legs, and then resting that 7th day, it can get quite difficult where if you do miss a day, you only have 1 rest day. So if you miss 1 day earlier in the week, you absolutely have to make that up on your rest day. Otherwise, the whole split is going to get thrown out of whack, and that could get a little bit stressful. Or if you're only doing it 3 times per week, so you're doing push, pull, legs, let's say you do push, rest, pull, rest, legs, rest, rest. If you do something like that, then again, you're only hitting each muscle group once per week, and that is not going to be maximally stimulating MPS. The next split that I want to talk about is upper lower. So in this one, you would do upper body one day, followed by lower body the next day, and then rest that third day. So you can repeat this cycle indefinitely, or what you can do is have a 4 days per week lifting split, in which Monday, Tuesday would be upper, then lower. You'd rest on Wednesday, and then Thursday, Friday, you have upper, lower again, and then you can rest both Saturday and Sunday on the weekend. Some pros for this type of workout split are, again, that it's also pretty balanced. I'd say it's similar to the push-pull legs in that sense. However, I do think that this upper lower split does give you a little bit more flexibility throughout the week. So I personally like having 3 rest days. If I need to shift one of those around, instead of doing Thursday, Friday, I could rest on Thursday and then go Friday, Saturday, or just move some days around. It's not necessarily going to be as stressful as if you were following a push-pull legs 6 times per week. The other thing that I like about this split is that it does allow for additional days. So let's say you want to have like a high intensity interval training day, or maybe you want to go in a 5th day and just work on some other accessory movements that you feel you're neglecting. This split allows you to do that, whereas again, some of the other ones might not let you do that. However, some cons to this type of workout split are that it's going to be a little bit harder to hit a total amount of volume. So if you're doing 4 days per week upper lower versus a 6 days per week push pull legs, it's going to be a lot harder to get the same amount of volume into those 4 days, and if you do, your workouts are probably going to be a lot longer. One thing to keep in mind here is that if you do end up keeping somewhat shorter workouts and you're neglecting some of that volume, that you are going to be doing less volume than other workout splits. But as I mentioned in the pros section of this particular split, you do have extra days to go in and make that up if you feel like you need to do that. And the last one that has seemed to become more and more popular over the last year or 2 years is going to be a full body split, in which you're hitting every single muscle group on your body each workout that you do, or at least every other day. Some pros for this workout split are that it gives you a lot of flexibility in terms of number of days that you can go to the gym. So you can do anywhere from 3 days of full body up to 6 days of full body. You could potentially do 7, but I think you'd be getting into some dicey territory when it comes to recovery. There's also a lot of variability when it comes to each individual workout. So if you have to hit each and every muscle group on your body for each workout, you're going to be cycling through a ton of different exercises, and some people might prefer that as opposed to some of the other splits. In this one, you're also going to be maximizing your muscle protein synthesis, because you're going to be sending your body a signal each and every day because you're hitting that muscle group each and every day. So that's something to keep in mind as well. You're also going to be minimizing soreness because you're not really hitting that much muscle volume from day to day. And I feel like this one is probably the easiest to catch up in terms of workout, or if you miss a day, it's not really that big of a deal, because when you go into the gym the next time, you're going to be doing full body again anyways. Or let's say on the bro split, if you miss Monday, if you miss chest day, you're not hitting that again till another week from now. Some cons of this workout split though are that you're probably not going to be getting a pump. You're probably going to be hitting a few sets for one particular muscle group, and then you're on to a new muscle group, so there's not really a whole lot of room for that. Another con would be that if you don't program this correctly, it would be very easy to overtrain. So let's say you put a very heavy bench day on Monday, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, you're doing chest fly, and then you're doing incline bench again. If you don't take that into account, it could be very easy to just run yourself into the ground, and you're not going to be recovering properly, in which case it's actually going to elevate that soreness, and it's just going to tank your workouts. Another thing to keep in mind for this split is that if you go to the gym at a very busy time, it might be quite hard for you to actually hit your workout or whatever is prescribed for that day, because you're going to need a ton of different equipment if you have to hit all these different muscle groups within that workout. We'll wrap things up in just 1 second here, but my question of the day for you is, what workout split are you currently following? Let me know down in the comments below. I'm curious to know what all of you are doing. I think I mentioned it earlier, but I'm doing the 4 day per week upper lower. I rest on Wednesdays and then also Saturdays and Sundays. I feel like this just fits my lifestyle best and allows me some free time to work on things like YouTube or actually go out and enjoy a social life. But again, I want to know what you guys are up to. Let me know down in the comments below, and with that, let's get back into it. So I'm hoping that after watching this video and going through that 6-step process on how to go from a very general goal all the way down to a specific weekly plan, and then also some of the pros and cons of these various workout splits, that you can end up deciding what workout split is going to be best for you based on your individual needs and goals. However, I will acknowledge that once you decide on a split and an overall goal, that it's not necessarily that easy to come up with a workout plan. I think that's a whole different ballgame. However, I do want to say there are two great options for someone like you. The first one is that I do offer this as a service, so I come up with custom workout programs based on a client's wants and goals. So if you're interested in that, you can go ahead to my website, it's linked down below, head over to the services tab and then fill out a program design form. So I'd be happy to work with you and figure out what kind of plan is going to be best for you. Or option number two is going to be if you're someone who wants to come up with that plan on your own. I have an entire series on how to properly design a training program with science-based recommendations. So I'll link that somewhere up here, and then I'll put that linked down in the description box below as well. But you can go ahead and check that one out as well. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them down below for me. I'd be happy to help any of you out. But that's going to be it for today's video. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments down below. And again, if you're new here, be sure to subscribe. Turn those notification bells on because I post new videos every single Friday and you do not want to miss when they go live. And with that, I'll see you in the next video.